Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and for my cultural spotlight, I chose to look at Hong Kong on the non-Western culture. Why? The reason why I chose to look at Hong Kong is because I went there in 2019 to study for a bit as a part of a program I was in. And I was interested in the culture, but I found that it felt very different, and I didn't know why it felt different. But now I thought it would be perfect to revisit it and really gain a better understanding and learn more about the culture. Um, because now going through this course, I will get a better understanding of a lot of the course concepts that will enable me to be more analytical in my uh, examination of the culture and why it is the way it was, why I felt like life was different. With and it went from the people to just how it felt going day to day, like the pace of life. But I didn't know at the time, and now I have the chance to explore that. In paper one, I looked at mooncakes, and I got to try these when I was in Hong Kong. And I knew because my roommate told me that there was some cultural significance to them. They weren't just pastries, but I didn't really know that much about them. So, uh, during this paper, I researched mooncakes, and I found that they were part of the Mid-Autumn Festival, and they actually reflected like giving mooncakes to someone, especially in a well-decorated package, reflected the Confucian ideals of filial piety and harmonious relationships through expressions, because it was seen as an expression of respect and gratitude. And in this way, I also realized that it was a form of high context communication because these mooncakes symbolize those two things, as well as things like unity, goodwill, and completeness. So it really conveyed deep meanings without like verbal communication. And it aligned with yin and yang philosophy and emphasizing balance and interdependence with nature and reinforced social and familial bonds while highlighting cultural continuity. For my second paper, I looked at family hierarchy in communication. So, uh, communicating between the communication within the family between the younger and the older generation. And I found that in Hong Kong, there is a focus on hierarchical respect, age based on the basis of age. So it's rooted in Confucian values of respect and harmony. Younger members show deference to older members through things like honorifics and nonverbal humility, as well as just like implicit communication. This kind of demonstrates like the high context nature of Hong Kong's communication preferences, as they kind of a lot of it is relying on understandings rather than direct statements showing respect. And the whole idea of elders being at the center of the family's decision making really highlights the high power distance of the culture as well as the past oriented worldview that they hold over there. My third paper, the final paper, I looked at the Hong Kong protests, and these did occur while I was there, which was 2019, but I didn't know that much about them. And so this was sparked by the extradition bill. A lot of Hong Kongers felt like by passing this bill that allowed people to be extradited from Hong Kong to Beijing to be tried for their cases. They felt like this was an attack on their autonomy. And now looking at it, I can see how it kind of shows like individualism versus collectivism, as protesters would balance their collective goals with like individual agency. And this really was captured by the slogan of Bruce Lee, which was "Be Water." That was referenced and kind of brought like a lot of people were referencing that in the protests. It was a lot of high context communication was used for the protests with symbolic gestures like umbrellas, which referenced the umbrella movement, and Lennon walls, which allow people to convey resistance without like direct confrontation. So I think that this was a very interesting experience writing all three of these papers, and something that can be applied to my life and my future professional endeavors as well. Because it's important to know about whether culture prefers high context communication or low context communication. Let's say I have to communicate with business partners in the future in different countries. It would be good to know this so that they aren't frustrated by my communication style, but rather feel welcome and understood and uh, accept the like they and like communicating with me. It would be good. As well as understanding whether they operate on uh looking at the pace of life, or they operate on like the chronamics, whether they operate on clock time or event time will also be important. So those are some things to take away. Understanding power distance, all those things can be applied to my professional life in the future. Overall, I think this was a very informative uh experience. I learned a lot about. I feel like I got glasses that allow me to analyze the culture that I'm in a lot better, and it's something that I will take with me. But with all my travels from this point forward, I'll be able to gain a much deeper and complex, yeah, understanding of the society that I'm in, the non-Western culture, if I'm in one. So thank you.